Alright, so if you've had an experience with shooting videos in the past, then one thing you and I can agree on is the fact that owning your own good quality affordable lights is never an easy task. And lighting is one of those things that can either make or break your videos. So today in this video, we're going to be looking at a good affordable option for some lighting that you can either use to make your videos look better, or you cannot use to make your videos not look better. But anyways, this is going to be the Godox SL60W, or the newer SL60W as it is known in some areas. So that said, let's go. All right, before we carry on, full disclosure, this is not a sponsored video, and I'm not making this video because this company has contacted me, but I'm making it because I want to share my honest opinion with you guys regarding this product. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the pros as well as the cons to using this piece right here. So let's get it going. This is not one of those videos that I'm going to be comparing this light to other lights out there in the market, but rather I want to look at this light as a standalone product and also see the cons and the pros of this unit, and as well see if it checks all the right boxes for you who is looking to get some lights for your lighting kit. So whenever I want to buy products, the first thing I'm always interested in is knowing how much they cost. If they're cheaper, then most likely I would go for it, but if they're more expensive, then most often I might not go for it because I cannot afford it. Anyways, we are going to be looking at the price point of this light, and it comes in at around 134 US dollars. I think personally it's one of the best bang for buck units that you're going to get when it comes to lighting. It's affordable and it has a whole ton of features packed into it. So now that we've actually looked at the price, let's jump a little bit into the technical details about this light. When you get this light itself, what comes in the box is the light unit itself, power cord. You also have a remote control and a reflector that you can mount onto the front unit. That's what comes in the box. First thing that you want to know about this light is the fact that it's actually daylight balance. It's at 5600 Kelvin, which means that's daylight and you cannot control this color temperature. Another thing that you might want to keep in mind is the CRI value. It comes in at 93, and if you don't know what the CRI value is, basically is the color accuracy of the light. When you shine the light on a certain color, is that color going to be represented properly, and would your camera capture that color accurately? So usually that value is measured in 100, and to stand at 93, it's a pretty good way to go. So anything above 90 usually is considered decent, but this comes in at 93, so it is pretty good. Another thing you want to keep in mind is how much punch that you get out of the light. So the output, this comes in at 4500 lumens, which is really bright if you ask me. It's a 60-watt light, and it's also LED, so having 4500 lumens out of it, that's pretty good. I'm actually using one of these right now, and it is set to 60%, and you can see everything is properly lit. Actually, I'm using two, so I'm using one as the key light with the reflector on the other side, and behind me I'm using one as some sort of an ambient light, which I've pointed directly to the ceiling, so it gives it a really nice ambience, and you can see what's going on in the background and in the foreground as well. So yeah, 4500 lumens, that's pretty good. It has an LCD on the back for you to check all the information that you need to check. It's also dimmable from 10% right up to 100%, and that is pretty cool. So you can determine how much power you want to get out of it depending on the situation and the lighting conditions that you are working with. So it comes with a Bowens S mount, which means you can basically attach an endless variety of light modifiers onto this light. It doesn't flicker. It has a large LED chip in the front, which basically means that it's not going to overheat on you because LEDs produce less heat, and also it has a really good lock system when you mount it on a stand. When you want to tilt the light up and down, it has a really good lock that you can grab onto and just flip it, and it makes things a lot easier and comfortable when you're positioning your lights. All right, so now that we've looked at the price point of this light, let's jump into the technical details of this light. The first thing you want to know is that this light is actually daylight balance, which means it comes in at 5600 Kelvin and you cannot change that temperature. Another thing you want to keep in mind is the CRI value, which is 93. Now the CRI value is measured in 100, and if you don't know what CRI is, basically it's the color accuracy of this light. If you shine this light onto anything, the colors of that thing going to be properly represented when your camera captures that image. So it's something that you want to keep in mind. Anything above 90 CRI, it's pretty decent, and this comes in at 93, so that is nice to know. Also, when it comes to the power output of this light, it's about 4,500 lumens, which is pretty much very bright, especially when you're using it in a dark area. Then you're gonna have some really good punch from this light. And right now I'm only operating this at 60%, so I still have another 40% to add some punch onto this if I need it. So that's pretty good. And when it comes to features on this light, I would say it has an LCD on the back, which basically means you can see all the information that you need to see on that back side of the screen. It is also dimmable from 10% all the way to 100%. It doesn't flicker. It has a large LED chip in the front, which basically means that it's not going to overheat on you since it's LED. And it also has a really good locking mechanism when it comes to putting the light on a pole and tilting it up and down. So those are some of the pros of this light. So now let's jump into the cons. And usually when I'm going to buy a product, I'm looking at the pros and the cons. If the cons outweigh the pros, then it's a no-go for me. But if the pros outweigh the cons, then I would consider getting this product if it checks most of the boxes that I'm looking to check. So with some of the cons of these lights, the fan which is inbuilt is a little bit loud. So if you're doing like interview setups and things like that, then you might want to consider how you're going to use this light. And for now, I am doing some sort of an interview setup with the camera pointing right here, and I don't think you can actually hear what it sounds like, but sometimes your mic might pick that up. So I'm just going to go quiet a little bit so you can tell for yourself if you can pick that up. I don't think it's too loud, but at the same time, it's something that you want to keep in mind when you're trying to get this light, the sound of the fan itself. So another thing you might want to keep in mind when you're getting this light is the sloppy Bowens mount that you have on it. Meanwhile, it's a nice thing to have a Bowens mount. I think it needs to be properly built and constructed, but the ones that you have on these units are not so good, because when you put in your modifier and you lock it in, it still can fall off without you releasing the lock mechanism. It is something that you might want to keep in mind, because if you have it in a really good setup and it falls off, you could either, tip your camera over or just ruin your entire setup. So I'm always keeping an eye out, to watch that it's in place. And I've had it fall out a couple of times with me, but luckily enough, it wasn't able to destroy anything. So you want to keep an eye on that mount and make sure that it's properly screwed in, or, use some sort of unorthodox method, if I will, to try to hold it into place, Another big challenge with this light is the fact that it only takes AC, so it doesn't take DC. And what this means is that you cannot power this off of a battery. You must power it straight off of the wall. So for those of you who have V mounts, or if you're going to be shooting in a remote location, then this light is a no-go, except you have a source where you can actually plug it in directly to get some AC. All right, so that's my 2 cents on this little light right here, and I'm going to leave links in the description down below to each and every one of the products that I'm using, the lights, the softbox, and the grid itself. So if you're looking to get some of those, then I advise you to use the link in the description. If you use that link, I'm going to get a small commission with no extra cost to you. So yes, thank you. Anyways, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did find the video helpful, make sure you go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, if your face is a new one here, I would encourage you to go ahead and put on your gloves and give that subscribe button a left hook, yeah. And I think I will see you next week when we're talking about